as that auspicious moment for the Pran Pratishtha of Ramlala's Murti or idol draws close. There is tremendous excitement, not just here in Ayodhya, but across the length and breadth of our country and perhaps many parts of the world. And with me is the man who leads that Bhagirat Prayas in the construction of this Divya Bhavya Ram temple here at Ayodhya, Nripendra Misra. Sir, many thanks for speaking to us here at India Today. You are the chairman of the Sri Ram Temple Construction Committee and former principal secretary to the Prime Minister. Sir, आपका इस समय जो भगीरथ प्रयास है, ये कैसा चल रहा है?
Well, I have to say that it is very challenging. We had promised to the nation that the ground floor of the temple, which means 5 mandap and the garbhagriha, where the Lord will be consecrated. Apart from that, we had also promised that significant portion of Parkota, which is the outer boundary wall, that will also be ready. We have done it. I would say that I am successful to the extent of about 95%. 5% is still challenging, but that's how the life is. And I have to, through your channel, tell the nation that by December 2024, the temple and Parkota will be completed. The first floor and second floor of the temple, which you can now see at the moment is under construction, that will be completed. So, I am living under continuous challenge and aspiring to perform what is assigned to me.
And this is, I mean, the temple looks beautiful, it looks divine. What will Sri Ram Bhakt see on the 22nd of January when the Pran Pratishtha takes place, sir?
Well, the devotees will come from 23rd morning, but invited guests, which are roughly about 6,000 to 8,000 people, they, of course, will have the darshan of Lord on 22nd itself. What they are going to see complete is that the portion of entrance from Parkota, that is the eastern entrance, that will be complete. So they will enter through the Parkota eastern entrance, and then they will be seeing the stairs of the main temple, where we have already installed the Gajadwar, which is elephant, then the Singh Dwar, lion is there, and then Hanuman and Garud. So 6 such statues are there, which will be a kind of blessing the devotee who has taken all these efforts and who has waited and waited. The generations have waited, now they have come. So now they will get the blessing before they climb up about 32 stairs and pass through the mandap and stand before the Lord in Guru Mandap.
Sir, I mean, I have goosebumps when you talk. You have seen this through so many different phases. Ayodhya ke baare mein to they anyways say that this is a city that's always waited. 14 years when Lord Ram was in Vanvas, and then another 500 years for this temple. But sir, did you think, one, this would happen in your lifetime or mine? And sir, describe to us what Ramlala would look like. Well, there's so much curiosity to know.
Well, you are very right. Actually, when I first came in 2020, I also, like you mentioned, Ayodhya. And then the people here were very emotional. They said, sir, not Ayodhya, Ayodhya Dham. So that is how the station has been named. They don't want to see this as Ayodhya. So that is the emotional connect of the people here in Ayodhya. Now, obviously, they see the return of Lord Ram in a different form. 1,000 years before, there was a kingdom here, kingdom of which the Lord was the king. And he was not just king, he was Maryada Purushottam. He had already attained a status of godly qualities. A status because he was still in the incarnation of the human form, but he was already godlike. He was also now giving the different messages to those who are being ruled and to those who are the rulers, that how, in what manner they should conduct, what should be the highest ethical standard. That's why he's called Maryada Purushottam. And I might add, and it is not there, but you permit me to speak a minute.
Of course, sir.
This Parkota, which you see, the construction here, this is total is 795 meters. 795 meters, and that is what makes it a construction of 8 acres. So the temple is 2.5 or 2.8 acres, but when you take the Parkota, then it is 8.5 acres, and it is in the Parkota that we are going to have about 100 murals.
Wow.
Those are bronze murals, and they will give the message of Lord globally and to the nation and to the individual. How the individual should live, how the nation should conduct, how the ruler should conduct, all that is part of the Parkota. So we are going to have bronze murals put in this, but all of it, believe me, it's my commitment, by 2024 it will be completed.
And for the Pran Pratishtha on the 22nd of January, I believe there's a lot of interest even overseas, and arrangements are being made so that Ram Bhakts, not just in India but also in different parts of the world, will be able to see this?
Yes, I was told by Information Broadcasting Ministry that they are having links both for the country and links in a manner that it can be seen by all, roughly about more than 5 lakh villages. It will also be seen in different nations. In fact, there is a demand from New York that it should be displayed there, though it will be middle of the night, but they are very keen that it should be on the square in the New York, should be displayed so that all the NRIs and other devotees, they are able to see what is being done here, the puja, the Pran Pratishtha. You asked a question,
Sir.
About how the Lord will look like.
Sir.
And that's important. We have made selection. The trust has made selection. And the Lord is roughly of the 5 years of age. Why 5 and below? It is because there is a sacred thread which ceremony is performed after 5 years. Yagopavit. That is not there. He is not wearing it. That is why we have decided that it will be roughly of 4 to 5 years, 51 inches. The height is important because on a day of Ram Navami, we have done some work with the Central Building Research Institute and the Astronomy Institute in Pune, so that the rays of sun, they fall on the forehead of the Lord at 12 noon on Ram Navami day.
Every year Ram Navami?
Every year for next 20 years it has been so computerized. A software has been prepared that we don't have to do, though there will be movement of the sun, but they have calculated what will be the impact and how that ray now will fall. So In fact, because of the distance and the direction, at 12 o'clock, the rays are not coming directly. That was the challenge. So we have to receive it on Shikhar. The Shikhar will 161 feet on this temple. There we have made a small aperture. From there, it will be reflected.
Wow.
And that reflection then will reach the Lord's forehead. So that is how.
सूर्यवंशी तो है ही भगवान राम.
तो जी हाँ, बिल्कुल उनका जो सूर्यवंश है
जी.
और जो उनका इतिहास है, उन सबको ध्यान में रख करके ये we decided that this must be ensured, and you'll be. This idea didn't come from us.
Sir.
This idea came from Prime Minister.
Really? So what was his
That is because
instruction?
the Prime Minister, you know, is always doing he's always in some kind of attempt to discover a technology which can also go with our faith, with our religion. So he suggested that if you can do this, it will be of great interest. And then he was very kind. He asked the CSIR, Scientific Research Institute, the Central Institute,
Sir.
to combine the team of scientists who will do this work for the temple. So that is the work which is going to be done. And this Ram Navami, coming Ram Navami, it will be there.
Oh, how brilliant, sir. And this Ram temple, while this is a civilizational heritage, sir, you're also using the latest technology and all the latest equipment to make this Divya Bhavya temple. So what can you tell us about that?
Well, there is no doubt about it that it is the technology
Sir.
which wants or aspires for its minimum life of 1,000 years.
1,000 years.
Yeah. There were challenges, but naturally, all those challenges, they were met. For example, the soil test that had to be checked and foundation had to be recreated. Then there were other challenges in construction. But to your question, the technology is so recent because we have not used iron. Steel has not been used. So we had to then depend on stone and then create a system of working or technological placement of stones in a manner that it is not affected, it is not damaged whenever the earthquake shock is there. So we have to ensure the resilience of the stones. And those stones have been pinned together with copper.
Right.
So
no rusting.
Yeah. You will be impressed or you may be of great interest to you that more than 4.5 lakh cubic meter Bansi Paharpur stone has been used in the main temple and 7.5 lakh cubic meter has been used in the Parkota. So that is what the construction is all about.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And you've used marble also from Makrana. Is that in the Garbhagriha? Because I believe the Garbhagriha has a lot of the doors and the wood is of a certain kind, and it's apparently gold, made of gold. A lot of gold plating on the throne.
Yeah, the throne is Singhasan jise kehte hain. That is gold plated. The doors, 14 in number, they are gold plated. But in Garbhagriha, the cladding is of a pure marble, Makrana marble, with the design. And there was a logic why we didn't put gold on the walls. The idea was, and many of the saints, they said that if you are really wanting that devotee should pray to God, then please don't distract him by showing the gold. Let him have the peace and some degree of commitment, some degree of devotion, जिसे अर्चना कहते हैं, to only do it for the Lord. That's the reason we decided we'll have a limited gold plate which will be restricted to gates only. Doors.
श्याम वर्ण के हैं राम जी तो
जी जी
कृष्ण शिला?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल कृष्ण शिला से हैं, श्याम वर्ण के हैं, और उनको एक मैंने देखा है.
वाह.
मैं यह कह सकता हूँ कि when you will appear before the Lord, you will only and only have the feeling of worshipping someone who is not just part of human being. Although we are showing him as a young child, because that's how we are told, but you will have the feeling that there is something unusual, divine that we are seeing when we see his eyes, when we carry our eyes to the charan, samcharan, the feet of the Lord. There is a feeling of total what is called surrender. A surrender before the God.
पूर्ण
Yeah.
समर्पण से
Yeah,
अर्चना.
samarpan is the word. Yeah, that is the word.
So what would be the distance and what kind of a platform would the Lord be on? अगर हम दूर से दर्शन कर रहे हैं.
He will be roughly on total, the Singhasan and the Murti, it will be roughly 71 inches.
71 inches.
And the devotee will be roughly standing about 25 feet from that distance. We have ensured that he is able to see and he is able to make his prayers from that distance. He will definitely see the form, the divine form of the God. Yeah.
Sir, while all of us, are talking about this Divya Bhavya Ram temple, there are some who say that, why are we doing this? How much money are we spending on it? And why should this happen? And, this is being politicized. May I?
I don't enter into politics, but I only say that if we have to, it is not a monetization which is the issue. It is the issue of having our faith. It is the issue of getting a place, the rightful place for our God. It is the aspiration of millions, probably billions of people to see that the Ram goes back to the place where he was born. So it cannot be translated into just a human being unless you are able to see that he is divine, unless you are able to see that he is our ultimate Lord, ultimate God. You will not. Then you will ask these, questions which are irrelevant. But if you really have faith and if you really feel that we must get back the right place for our Lord, which was denied for thousands of years and at least for 500 years. I mean, there are people now who are in tears when they see the temporary temple. So if today they are able to dream that the Lord will now go to the temple where he really should have been there, then it is just fulfillment of those dreams, those aspirations, those ambitions.
Sir, as a Ram Bhakt yourself, because I believe every year, 31st of December, you do Ramcharitmanas part at home. And as somebody who's been through this, what goes through your heart when this temple now comes up after 500 years?
Makes me humble. Really, I'm telling you, I didn't believe that it will come my way. I definitely didn't believe that I'll be instrument of God in fulfillment of this. So yes, it is true. It is also true that I am Hanuman and Ram Bhakta. It is also true that on 31st of January, middle of the night, I read Sundarkand of Ramayana. That I have been doing since child. Yes. Yeah. So that is what we do. That's my personal faith. But what I am doing here is something which is the dream of billions. And that is how I feel humble.
So we have a murti of Ramlala in the makeshift temple right now. What happens to that murti, and what is this concept of a achal murti and an utsav murti?
Well, Achal Murti will be the standing Murti which will get the Pran Pratishtha and it will remain forever there. And the Utsav Murti is the Murti which will come from the present temple, which everyone believes appeared somewhere in 1947-48, and that is the Murti. You have that concept of Utsav Murti in Puri also. Jagannath Puri. So it is something on those lines that we are going to have.
So on a chariot you will take that murti like...
That's the decision trust has to make. Because then everything will be under consideration. And then they will decide. And it will all depend on the aspirations. So I cannot commit that. But yes, Utsav Murti will be right in front of the Achal Murti. Both will be worshipped, and the priest also will ensure that it is done.
And
can I?
Yes, but for joining me here on India Today, sir, many thanks.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Shri Ram ki ek Utsav Murti and an Achal Murti, and that is the Divya Bhavya Ram temple where the Pran Pratishtha will take place on the 22nd of January for a temple for all times to come amidst chants of Jai Shri Ram.